Hello everyone, my name is Citlaly.
And I'm Franchesca, and the microbe we will be discussing today is Streptococcus Pyogenes. Here is a general overview on what we will be discussing today. And although it is unlisted here, we will also be giving you some fun facts about this interesting little microbe towards the end of the video.
If you are in any way familiar with microbiology, you may have noticed that Streptococcus Pyogenes has a word tied to it that indicates something. Once you find out what that word is, you may be able to answer the question, where does Streptococcus Pyogenes lie on the 3 domains of life? If you guessed that it belongs to the bacteria domain, you would be correct, and you may have deduced this by knowing that the word coccus represents a bacterial shape.
Next question. Where does Streptococcus Pyogenes lie on the 6 kingdoms of life? Well, we know that Streptococcus Pyogenes is a part of the bacterial domain, so it's pretty easy to deduce that Streptococcus Pyogenes belongs to the bacteria kingdom. Continuing down the classification hierarchy, Firmicutes is a phylum Streptococcus Pyogenes belongs to. Its class is Bacilli. Its order is Lactobacillus. Its family is Streptococcaceae. Its genus is Streptococcus, and Pyogenes is a species of Streptococcus pyogenes. Now, it's time to go over the specific structure of Streptococcus pyogenes. Because Streptococcus pyogenes is a bacterium, it is a prokaryote, meaning it has no nucleus. You can't find any membrane-bound organelles in the cytoplasm except ribosomes, and its genetic material is in the form of single continuous strands.
If you recall from a few slides back, we said that the word coccus represents a bacterial shape. But what we did not mention is that this bacteria has a spherical shape. And just to avoid confusion, we know that on this slide it says cocci, but just realize that cocci is only plural for coccus. Streptococcus pyogenes is able to create chains, and we feel that the image all the way to the left perfectly illustrates the microbe's morphology, with its round circular shape and the way these round circular shapes connect with other bacteria. The microbe is also catalase negative, meaning it does not produce the enzyme catalase, which is known to protect an organism against hydrogen peroxide. That's not to say that Streptococcus pyogenes doesn't have any means of protecting itself, and we'll show you what we mean by that on the next slide. Streptococcus pyogenes has no locomotion because it is non-modal. It doesn't move. It is, however, capable of encapsulation. Now, we understand that the vocabulary found in the middle white box may be a little overwhelming, so let's break it down. A capsule gives bacteria extra protection. Think of it as a shield. Encapsulation refers to a bacteria having an outer capsule, which protects the microbe from getting destroyed by white blood cells, aka phagocytosis. Put it all together, encapsulation acts as a shield against white blood cells. You can see how encapsulation can be frustrating since it makes it difficult for white blood cells to fight off infection, but fortunately, there are treatments that assist the white blood cells in battle.
Back to the original slide. Streptococcus pyogenes is gram-positive, meaning its peptidoglycan wall, which is a polymer of sugar and acids found in a bacterium cell wall, is many layers thick. This means that when crystal violet is applied to it, it will take up the stain and turn purple, as shown on the far right image.
To achieve replication, Streptococcus pyogenes uses binary fission, a type of asexual reproduction in single-celled organisms. This process is known to be way faster than mitosis, and as a result of it, Streptococcus pyogenes is going to develop colonies, which are these clumps found on this image.
Unfortunately, Streptococcus pyogenes is the root cause of several diseases, such as pharyngitis, scarlet fever, tonsillitis, and the most common that Streptococcus pyogenes is famous for is strep throat. Fortunately, there are treatments for these infections,
such as penicillin, cefazolin, and cephalexin. Before we show you how these treatments work, we would like to address that penicillin works the same way as cefazolin and cephalexin. They all stop cell wall synthesis, but because penicillin is the most common antibiotic used, we decided to label our antibiotic found on the next slide as penicillin, since it is the most popular one people take. But just to reiterate, they all work the same. It's just that some people are allergic to penicillin, so they had to take substitutes like cefazolin or cephalexin. Now with that out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and pass it back to Cheska.
Essentially, penicillin, the antibiotic, bonds to the enzyme that is responsible for cell wall synthesis in Streptococcus pyogenes. As a result of this bonding, the enzyme is no longer going to be able to build cell walls. It stops Streptococcus pyogenes from undergoing binary fission or sexual reproduction. Slowly but surely, all the Streptococcus pyogenes present in the individual's body will die, resulting in a happy individual. It is important to note that the treatments we mentioned do require a medical prescription. So, if you happen to have a strep throat, please consult your doctor to see which medication is best for you.
It's time for my favorite part of the video, the fun facts. We tend to associate the word parasite with a worm or scary bug, and although it may not look like it, Streptococcus pyogenes is actually a parasite because it lives in a host organism and benefits by getting nutrients. While this is awesome for Streptococcus pyogenes, it really sucks for the host. We end up getting sore throats, we have trouble swallowing, we get fevers. It's just plain awful. It's also pretty interesting to know that Streptococcus pyogenes is carried asymptomatically by about a quarter of the human population. So you could have it chilling in your body right now, and you wouldn't even know. Streptococcus pyogenes also does lactic acid fermentation, meaning it does not use oxygen to get its energy. In other words, it's anaerobic.
As you may already know, Streptococcus pyogenes is spread through respiratory droplets, which is a fancy way of saying saliva or moisture. So, avoid sharing drinks, food, and if you really want to be safe, avoid kissing. Streptococcus pyogenes is non-sporulating, meaning it does not produce spores in order to reproduce. And the last fun fact, Streptococcus pyogenes is known to hang out on the human skin, pharynx, also known as throat, and even rectum. That's pretty gross, right? That wraps up our discussion. But before we go, we would like to mention that this presentation could not have been possible without a number of resources, images, and music. Keep in mind, these citations will also be found in the description box below. We appreciate you listening to our presentation.
Have a wonderful day.
And beware the evil Streptococcus pyogenes.